What's up, guys? Nolan here, and a couple days ago there was a community cast with Nikita, the lead developer of Escape from Tarkov, where he explained a few plans, concepts, and ideas around what the game will look like when it's finished. Persistent effects through what we call death is something that has always been part of the plan, and Nikita explained something that a lot of people are now calling permadeath, which I wanted to touch on today. First, we need to break down what is actually planned and what is not. Officially, none of this is set in stone. None of what is discussed here is guaranteed to come to the game, but at the same time, it's possible that all of it will come to the game. The truth is likely somewhere in the middle of that, and I'm going to explain what I think that's going to look like. First, we have PMC effects that persist through what we call death. For anyone wondering how realistic this game is, the current motto for that with Escape from Tarkov is as realistic as playable. If you ever question anything happening in a game that doesn't seem realistic, then the answer is probably just so it can still be a game. That is the answer to why your PMC can get shot in the face several times and then just wake up and be able to go back and do it again. But what BSG wants to do is have something that will stay with you through those lives. And this is something that is already set and already working in game. We have scav karma that affects your scav and your PMC in some aspects already in the game. To expand on that, BSG currently have the PMC karma system in the works, which based off the testing done with scav karma, they decided to rework how that is going to work. However, I do expect it to work generally the same as scav karma. Your PMC focused actions are going to have consequences. BSG want this game to play out as an RPG in many aspects, where your alliances and reputation with NPCs will mean something. This sort of already happens with the traders, but it will become more significant with the addition of in-raid traders and NPCs, starting with our first in-raid trader on the lighthouse location coming soon. Apart from the karma system and reputation, medically speaking, BSG also plan to add lingering medical issues through deaths as well, including addiction around medications like painkillers and stimulants. So if this does end up coming to the game, then your PMC will over time feel less effect from the meds that you use and go through withdrawal effects if you take them too much or too often. The radiation poisoning that was discussed is an extension of that system, just much more dangerous, harder to fix, and longer lasting. Based off of the discussion with Nikita, this is how I interpret the way BSG planned to have radiation work in game. This is Jimmy the PMC. Jimmy wants to escape from Tarkov. In order to escape from Tarkov, Jimmy needs to make friends with this guy in a bunker. The guy in the bunker wants Jimmy to go to this radiated area to get a can of Tashanka for him so that they can become friends. Jimmy could go get a Geiger counter and investigate the area to see how dangerous it is first before going and finding some proper gear to safely traverse the area, then come back with minimal effects that he'll need treatment for but can still easily find some meds that will fix it over time. Or he could say screw it, just walk in there, get the can and bring it back. This is very quick and very cheap, but he will now have severe radiation poisoning and will be extremely sick. It's possible that there is something that can fix this. Maybe he has to take large amounts of medication that are expensive for a long time before he gets back to fully normal, but it's also likely that he made a really bad decision and will have to deal with the sickness before he then just dies. If he dies, then he can't escape from Tarkov, so that's the end of Jimmy. The full campaign and things you need to do to actually escape from Tarkov will not be known until full release. The idea that Nikita has for the game is that this will be pretty difficult. He wants there to be ways for people to straight up fail at escaping Tarkov. If he has his way, then there will be people who straight up just don't complete the game by making bad decisions that only can be fixed by starting over. Although this isn't set in stone, he'll likely get his way because it's literally his game. What he's talking about though is the campaign of which you will need to complete to get to the kind of gameplay that's similar to what we see today. A campaign which, although won't hold your hand, should still give you signs to stuff like radiation that it's pretty nasty and you shouldn't screw around with it. This is not a situation where you can get lost on shoreline for a few minutes and then notice that your eyes are bleeding, only to find out that you need to reset your account because your PMC will be permanently sick until it eventually dies. In fact, this entire concept could end up being broken up into pieces to the point where everything but the need for an account reset is absolutely required to finish the game. There's a possibility that you'll just have the radiation sickness where you'll need to pay for the pills to use every raid, or lasting effects where you're weaker because of it, but it's still playable. There's a lot that can happen here. The next part of this would be these radiated areas in the open world outside of the need for something related to completing the story. Maybe while Jimmy was walking towards the area where he's going to find the Tashanka for the guy in the bunker, he passed a very interesting looking bunker door, or maybe a military barracks or a police station, something that might distract him and cause problems where he'll need to decide whether or not to risk taking too long in the radiation to go investigate what those things are. But then he remembered there's a way to get better gear, allowing you to stay longer. If he gets the Tashanka now while he can earn that better gear, maybe even with the guy in the bunker that he's getting it for, and then come back to explore later. Then the last part of this is, what if Jimmy gets ambushed and hurt to the point where he moves too slow in the radiated area and knows even just to walk out of that area, he'll have to deal with the extra cost of the medication on top of the failure because he won't be able to get the Tashanka and have to start all over again. Well, this is where the as realistic as playable comes into play, and maybe if you just send yourself back to the hideout the quote-unquote quick way, empty-handed, it would be better than having to deal with the extra poisoning. game. If that's how that plays out, that is a possibility. This could lead anywhere, which is the whole point. BSG creates an artificial sense of risk. This is just a game. This is something that no matter what we do in it, we can take our headset off and walk away whenever we want. What changes that is having meaningful decisions to make. Technically, no different than deciding whether or not to take your last favorite gun build out on a raid with you. You could walk through a raid without seeing anything but scavs, you could wipe a 5-man with it, or you can die and lose it forever. Maybe instead, sell it and turn it into a couple lower tier loadouts for a better chance at earning more money, and then you can maybe get it back later. The choice is yours, and it should be possible to make that choice for the sake of fun. The point is that this isn't as bad as some of you guys think it is, even if the system comes as fully described. Even if it's possible to screw your character up so bad that only a reset will fix it, then it won't get there by accident, and there will be solutions for the minor setbacks that you might find yourself dealing with if you do have an accident. We need to let Nikita and BSG do what they want with their game and see where it leads, otherwise we wouldn't even be here with the game that we have today. Remembering that we are all here to play Escape from Tarkov, one of the most brutal, unforgiving multiplayer first-person shooter games ever made. Personally, I think we should let them officially earn that title by completing their plans with it. Let me know what you think in the comments. It's possible that I can get some better clarification on this from Nikita soon, but either way, we are going to hear more about this in the future, possibly with that Tarkov TV cast that we've been waiting for, although I think that one's going to probably lean more towards the Lighthouse expansion as well as Streets of Tarkov. Either way, as always, I will let you guys know more once I do. Until then though, for the latest Tarkov news, check out these playlists here. If you like this video, then you know the drill. Please subscribe. I really appreciate the people who do. If you are looking for people to play with, check out our Discord. Links in the description if you're interested. Otherwise, I hope you have a nice day. See you guys.